It's the 21st century. We're living in an era with full of high-standard technologies, jaw-dropping massive buildings, a lot of futuristic mode of transportations. We bond with exceedingly intellectual people. Society is entitled by different kinds of opinion. And we love having conversation in different social media platforms provided by the internet. And of course, the most important factor of all, we both share and perceive information with the world's top technological advancement, media. But have you ever wondered how media started? What its purpose? Why is it always relevant? And how did it affect significant events before? Same as it affects the society we're living now. Well, if you're looking for answers in these questions, we might help you track it down. This is MEDIUS, the middle ground. Media is the main means of mass communication, especially newspapers, radio, and television, regarded collectively the reporters, journalists, working for organizations engaged in such communication, also as a countdown, a particular means of mass communication. Johann Gutenberg's 15th century invention of the movable type of printing press. Books were painstakingly handwritten, and no two copies were the same. The printing press made the mass production of print media possible. In 1800s, a hand-operated printing press could produce about 480 pages per hour. Koenig's machine more than doubled this rate. In 1810, another German printer, Friedrich Koenig, pushed media production even further when he essentially hooked the steam engine up to printing press, enabling the industrialization of printing media. The increased efficiency went hand in hand with the rise of the daily newspapers. It was perfect medium for the increasingly urbanized Americans of the 19th century. In early decades of 20th century, the first major non-profit form of mass media, radio, exploded in popularity, which were less expensive than telephones and widely available by the 1920s. The post-World War II era in the United States was marked by prosperity and by the introduction of seductive new form of mass communication, television. Broadcast television was the dominant form of mass media, and the three major networks controlled more than 90% of the news programs, live events, and sitcoms viewed by Americans. The media world faced drastic changes once again in the 1980s and 1990s with the spread of cable television. During the early decades of television, viewers had a limited numbers of channels to choose from, one reason for the charges of homogeneity. In 1969, management consultant Peter Drucker predicted that the new major technological innovation would be an electronic appliance that would revolutionize the way people live, just as thoroughly as Thomas Edison's light bulb had. The invention of random access memory, RAM, chips, and microprocessors in the 1970s were an important step to the internet age. The reduction of many kinds of content to digitally sorted information meant that print, film, recording, radio, and television, and all forms of telecommunication were now being thought of increasingly as part of one complex. Transitions from one technology to another have greatly affected the media industry, although it is difficult to say whether technology caused a cultural shift or resulted from it. The development of printing press in Europe, known as the printing age, around 1450, was the key technology advance that moved us from the manuscript era to the printing era. The next is the audiovisual age. It is a wireless telegraphy paved the way for radio and television broadcasts. Advances in signal transmission and reception, as well as the vacuum tube technology, made television and radio more reliable and compact. Followed by the internet and digital media age, the digital code, microprocessors, and fiber cables were key technological advances that made the internet and digital communication possible. The 1960 media theorist Marshall McLuhan took these ideas one step further, famously coining the phrase, "The medium is the message," in 1964. By this, McLuhan meant that every medium delivers information in different way, and that content is fundamentally shaped by the medium of transmission. Number 1. Entertainment. Media can act as a springboard of our imaginations, a source of fantasy, and an outlet of escapism. Number 2. Provide information and education. Information can come in many forms, and it may sometimes be difficult to separate from entertainment. Today, newspapers and news-oriented television and radio programs make available stories from across the globe. Number 3. It's the ability to act as a public forum, or you might want to call it as a middle ground, for the discussion of important issues. The internet is fundamentally a democratic medium that allows everyone who can get online the ability to express their opinion, for blogging and podcasting. Number 4. It can be used to monitor government, business, and other institutions. Washington Post reporters Bob Woodward and Carl Bernstein uncovered evidence of the Watergate break-in and subsequent cover-up, which eventually led to the resignation of President Richard Nixon. Now that you've understood the fast-changing media landscape and the presence of social and digital media, do you think analog or traditional media, print, TV, and radio are still relevant nowadays? Print media was more durable and easily received, and it allowed users more flexibility in terms of time. Once a person had purchased a magazine, he or she could read it whenever, and wherever he wants. Broadcast media, in contrast, usually aired programs on fixed schedule, which allowed it to both provide a sense of immediacy and fleetiness. Television provides vastly more visual information than radio, and it's more dynamic than static printed page. It can also be used to broadcast live events to a nationwide audience, like the PTB press briefing about COVID-19 updates or the SONA State of the Nation address.